Hello. Just starting up here for my very first solo stream at 1:30 in the morning because who doesn't do stuff for the first time when they're barely awake? Uh, mm, okay. So, for none of those not familiar, my name's Beth. I work here at Giraffe Games. I also make games under the name Beth Makes Games. So, this is apparently the stream where we say the word games 30,000 times. And welcome, everybody. I'm going to be doing the 0 hour game jam. What that is it's a game jam that's 0 hours because it runs from 2 a.m. until 2 a.m. Uh, that means that we take the time that time goes back at 2 a.m. And we make a game from the new 1 a.m. up until the what was 2 a.m. before, essentially meaning we're making a game in no time at all. I did this one time about 7 or 8 years ago, back when I was doing video games, and it took me till 2:30 in the morning. So it was a 30-minute game instead, but it's still a lot less than an hour and a half. So still a win. This time I'm going to be doing it with tabletop instead, though. So we'll see how that goes. Still getting set up here a little bit, and then I'll be diving into how I personally do game jams, and then I'll be doing the game jam. Oh, hey Logan, what's up? Just gotta post this here a couple places, and then I am getting started. So it's so weird because like I really don't like hearing myself talk, and that's all I get to do now. It's an interesting experience. Not like literally hearing myself talk, of course, but like just kind of being in the corner of a room, talking out loud, no one in particular. Although now it's somebody in particular, at least that works out. Oh yeah, like have 30,000 windows open. I probably shouldn't do that while I'm trying to get this done. Let's fix that a little bit. Mm. Okay, wow, there's like lots of people here all of a sudden, or there's lots of chat in here. I'm not used to that at all. That's awesome. Hey, Rochelle, also. Ooh, Logan, you're making a game too. That's awesome. It's awesome that you both talk to yourselves out loud. I talk to myself a lot in my head. That's plenty for me. It's just hearing myself. Okay, so first things first. The 0 hour game jam again is something that happens from 2 a.m. till 2 a.m. So it's still 26 minutes early here. I was going to start at 1 o'clock, and then I was like, I am not filling an hour pre jam. I'm good with a half an hour. And we're actually enjoying Murders in the Building on Hulu. That show is awesome, by the way. Angel mentioned that we should try it out, and we've been enjoying it ever since. Whenever we get the chance to do so. But first things first, the 0 hour game jam does not have an actual theme to it unless you actually want to give yourself one. And I am somebody who loves extra challenges because why not make life harder than it already is, right? Making a game in 0 hours is not enough of a challenge, so let's make it more difficult. Rochelle over here was kind enough to send in 3 themes. I did exclusive theme submissions through the Patreon we have here on this page, where the mouse is moving around probably in a really annoying fashion for you, but whatever, it's fun for me, so enjoy that. But Rochelle sent in 3 themes. We had Night Owls Finding Food, Managing Stealth, Push Your Luck game detailing last-ditch efforts to prevent climate change. So upbeat. Also so difficult. I'm really glad. I was really nervous that was going to win because I love that theme. There's no way I'm doing it justice in an hour. That one's not happening. But Deduction Game, attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night, received 2 votes, which I guess 2 is better than 0, and therefore is the winner. Oh, thank you, Jamie. I love my hat too. I really appreciate you saying that. So I am very happy to hear that, and I appreciate it. And I just said both of those things, but it is 1:30 in the morning, and you're going to be hearing a lot of randomness from me. So, all right. So, first step for making a game for a game jam. You might think the first step is, maybe pulling some paper out, jotting some ideas down. But actually, the first step is to be really, really nerdy, and you go over to Google. And okay, so this theme is Deduction Game, attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. So, first, when you do a game jam, you pick apart the living crap out of whatever theme was given to you. Deduction Game. Define deduction. And yes, Define GigaChad was one of the most recent searches because there was a really funny D&D search, or D&D video about a GigaChad, and I did not know what one was, so I had to look that up. But yeah, anyway, define deduction. Deduction, the act of deducting. Really? Deducting is okay. Deducting or subtracting, that's not what we're talking about here at all. Although a game about deducting or subtracting something would be a really funny take on this thing. Like, we're doing the taxes based on the notes we left ourselves in the middle of the night. This is probably what was meant by that one. The inference of particular instances by reference to a general law or principle. The detective must uncover the murderer by deduction from facts. And today, we are the detectives of our own horrible handwriting. When we left notes to ourselves in the middle of the night, Rochelle apparently is not familiar with the fact that you can now just pull a phone out and type out notes. But again, that's probably also going to make any sense if you're pulling a phone out at 5 o'clock in the morning and writing something down. Or it makes sense, but it's just nowhere near as good as you think it is. I've definitely done that before, where you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. What if we made a roll and write, but instead of rolling, you just write? What if it's just a write and write? And I'm just going to that's all I need. I'm just going to write down write and write as a note, and boom, I'm done. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, what in the world did I try now? Write and write. So now I'm going to spend my whole day trying to figure out what I meant, because obviously this was super intelligent, and if I don't do this thing, I'm failing myself 10 years down the line where I could have been a billionaire, and I could have been the one that bought Twitter and maybe didn't start charging everybody $8 to use it. So, and then everybody else had to run everywhere else in the process. But I'm going to catch up on chat here for a second, because I'm so used to being the person in a stream that just kind of hangs out in the text chat, and to not do that is really weird. I'm really glad I'm not the only one that has nonsensical notes on their phone. And thank you, Rochelle, for loving my rambling. You are used to my rambling, so you might be a little bit biased on that. And yeah, that's true, Angel. You get to be the one that chats. Okay, so, wow. Okay, so for people that don't know this about me, I have this really bad fixation on, oh no, I have a notification and I need to deal with it this very second, because if I don't, deal with every single person who said something, then everybody's going to think that I secretly hate them and I'm ignoring them on purpose and I'm failing them as a human being. So the fact that all these text chat thingies are going by is like, whoo. Okay. So where was I? We're talking about coming up with an idea for this game, Dan. Deduction game attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. I told everybody that I would not start writing anything down or anything here. This would be a 0 hour jam. I'm not going to jump into this like I have an idea. I'm going to do this thing. I already have it started. But what I can do is I can show you basically how the process for me personally works. I use Canva. I started using it back with my last job where I was doing book promotion and stuff. And so I'm pretty familiar with it now. I also use, this is all working under Canva Pro, which is like $17 a month or something. I don't remember. Whatever it is, it's sweet. Whatever, it's cool. So all you have to do with Canva is you go over here and you can probably just do this flyer portrait thingy for 8.5 by 11. But what I like to do, a little insider trick here, is you go inches and you go 8.5 by 11. But if you do this, if you go create new design, let's say I want to throw down a square, right? I don't know. Be basic, whatever, it's cool. Basic it up. All right, square. Now we zoom in and we're like, I really want the square exactly in this spot. So you click on it and you use your arrow keys to move it. The thing is, if I hit arrow down once or arrow up once here, it's moving quite a bit. So the trick is resize, or you just do this in the first place. You literally just have to click inches, change it to pixels, resize, and now you'll see if I use the arrow key and actually click on the square first, or whatever this is, the rounded square, it barely moves. It makes it way easier to be precise. So if you're going to make anything and you need specific inches, so like for a bookmark, it's like 2 by 6 or whatever, a piece of paper that's 8.5 by 11, you're trying to do something in like half a page for whatever reason, I don't know. You just type in what you want here, and then you just click this, you get pixels, boom, everything's all better. You are perfectly set and ready to go. And apparently MC Hammer is breaking into our game now. Is MC Hammer the one that's going to be leaving these notes? Like, are we secretly MC Hammer? We don't even realize it. But MC Hammer only like manifests in the middle of the night. And so instead of can't touch this, it's like can't comprehend this, like the note that we've left ourselves. Like, is that what's going on here? Like, because I'm for that. We can do that. Like, let's do it. No, not really. No. MC Hammer. I wonder if there's any MC Hammer like Canva stuff, because Canva has like everything in here that's like free to use for anything. So I'm just curious what happens if you take an MC. You get E equals MC squared. That is 100% MC Hammer, and nobody can tell me otherwise. This is now MC Hammer. This is the note we got in the middle of the night that was somehow referencing MC Hammer, and we have to figure out how this is MC Hammer. I guess because there's an MC in it. But it's squared. It's not MC squared. It's MC Hammer. Is a hammer just a 2? Or do we live in a universe where a hammer represents 2? Or to the power of 2? Like, there's a lot of power in a hammer. You can hit stuff with the thing. Like, I mean, I guess that's... What would cubes be then? If a hammer is squared, is like a sledgehammer cube, or is that too basic and we're looking more at like, I don't know, a jackhammer being cubed? Or like, I don't know, some kind of power thought. I don't know. I have tools and stuff. I don't know. I had the front as a dude for so long that I fake knowing anything about tools, whatever. But anyway, all right. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, jackhammer is what it's at. So now we're just gonna throw another one of those in there too, and we're done. Like, we're just gonna like jackhammer. Let's be really fancy though, and background remove it too. Like we're not just gonna. This is not basic at all. This it's very important that we take this pre-jam seriously. This is some quality entertainment waiting for this background to get removed. I don't know if you're entertained. I am. Boom. E equals MC jackhammered. I hope that like however many years from now, like when I pass away, like the thing that people remember is that I put a jackhammer on a square and like I was the one that invented the jackhammer equals cube. Like math professionals down the line are just like using symbols. We're going back to like symbology and stuff. It'd be great. Jackhammer, don't hurt them. Yeah. And that is true. Those pants do sound like they'd be nice. I need to get past my dysphoria so I can get back to wearing pants again. And then I can hammer pants away. But they've got to be not yellow. I do not want yellow pants. Yellow's close to orange, but it's not orange. And I know, Rochelle, you're going to like, oh my goodness, she said purple. But like, if I'm going to be wearing MC Hammer pants, they're going to be purple. Don't hold that against me. I will delete this. Nobody's going to believe you. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, what happens at 2 in the morning stays at 2 in the morning. Like, didn't really happen at all. Okay. So, we're going to delete this stuff because I don't want to start with a head start. You know, like, I don't want to have already been deciphering things before 2 a.m. This is not the 0 hours and 13 minutes beforehand jam. It's the 0 hour jam. All right. So. Oh my goodness. Where's the, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. I need to click on that so I can be in the thingy. Logan over here says, I had a dream with an epic plot and an amazing plot twist, and I was like, I need to write this plot twist down and use it. And then I woke up and the note was hammer adjacent. I have no idea what that means. I think hammer adjacent is love, hammer adjacent is life. So really, I mean, that could mean anything. It's just we're all good to go. Okay. So what else do we do to prep for a jam? We have a bunch of water. We do that for jams. I think that'll hopefully be enough. And honestly, even if this is enough, like I'm not going to be sleeping tonight, not because of the caffeine, but because I'm going to be peeing every 15 minutes. So. That's going to be really fun. Okay, bring it. Toilet into the bathroom with me, or just sleep. I don't know. Where am I going with this? I don't even know. Okay, so let's be even more nerdy here, shall we? Deduction game attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. Do we have to go with middle of the night being the exact center of the night? Like, are we going at the literal definition of middle, where like we're actually saying like if I sleep from 3 in the morning till 11 in the morning, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, I don't know, somewhere in the middle there. I'm not counting my fingers right now. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. One of you can do the math. But what I'm saying is, does it have to be exactly the middle of the night, or can we just be like, you know what, like middle of the night? Decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. See, this is where especially things like Let 'em Dare get really fun because the theme is usually very short, and so you can just do whatever the heck you want with it. In fact, I've totally even done that with games where like the theme is like, I don't know, the theme is starting over, and you just make anything, and you're like, you know what, this is technically starting over because when you play the game, you start at the beginning, and so that's starting over. it's technically, like all the stuff I ever made applies to that, so it's all good. Like, oh yeah, the 4 a.m. thing, right? Rochelle, doing what I want is my middle name, so I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm not gonna like it, and I'm probably gonna regret it later. But yeah, and Jamie, you are absolutely correct. I'm not surprised you would know better than I would about streaming. But yeah, post-stream Zoomies is absolutely real. I am bipolar, and part of my bipolar is that I get manic sometimes, and mania is 100% predictable when it comes to any kind of socializing, because my brain is like, ooh, this is fun, I'm doing it, I'm doing the thing, and like it's just like the rest of my body's like, I'm not used to this though, and my brain's like, keep up, just do it, we're gonna enjoy the heck out of this. Like, so I'm just sitting here like my body is like this, and my brain is like zing. So it's gonna be really fun coming up with a game in an hour like this. But also, for anyone not familiar, Angel here pointed out that Reeves, Reeves, I don't know, dude, is a great poet. He does a bunch of like spoken word poetry and stuff. But one of the things he did, actually two of the things he did, were based on 4 a.m. And how 4 a.m. is brought up in a bunch of different content and media throughout like the last, I don't know, centuries. And it was just hysterical. He is very well spoken. He is what I aspire to be, and that is concise and poignant at once instead of the exact opposite. Like, I feel like I'm a little poignant, but it's basically going to take me 30 years to get there. And if you've read through everything I've said, then congratulations, you already win at patience. They always say that, like, you're not given the skills that you need or whatever. You're actually like, you're taught them. You're given them the challenges. And I feel like dealing with an email from me or from a long post that I've written is me teaching you patience. So you're welcome. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, well, I mean, obviously give you a deduction game attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. But since I have an hour, one of the things you need to do in a game jam is know your limitations. So I'm not going to make a deck builder. I'm not going to make Gloomhaven, but with notes. And I told Angel earlier that one of the things that I would never do in 1 hour is anything to do with prompts, because anyone who has made a game that includes prompts knows that prompts are really, really fun for like the first 2 or 3 prompts. And then after that, you hate yourself, you hate what you're doing, you hate the fact that you made a game that includes prompts. You try to find everyone else in the world. You say, hey, what kind of prompts would be fun for my game? And everybody says the same 2 or 3 things. So you're basically just stuck with coming up with it all yourself. And then if you're using Canva, you also get to deal with making the table work, because I'm not going to get started on tables on Canva, because 2 o'clock is going to fly right past. And I'm still going to be going off about tables on Canva. Do we even want to do vertical? We're just going to like, am I going to like force horizontal here? Be really weird. Because everybody loves horizontal games. Okay, so generally though, I don't know, why am I keep flipping around? You guys can see all this, and like, the last thing you want to see is me flipping through a bunch of tabs, making you dizzy. So, deduction game attempting to decipher notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. We're going to pull the main vibe of deciphering notes you've left yourself in the middle of the night, which is that surprised treasure huntingness to it. Like, you've found this note, you kind of remember writing it, you can tell it's your handwriting, even though it's the worst you've ever written in your entire life, because writing in the dark plus writing with a pen that you forgot was even there, and you weren't even sure if it writes anymore. In fact, maybe it's not even a note. Maybe you just have like an imprint. Like, you just kind of like, you got a notebook and you're like, oh no, I got this great idea. And then you're looking at it and it's just like these little imprints. And so you're trying to figure out what you said. So you got to like, do the whole like pencil trick where you can like see what you wrote. and it makes sense, and then it doesn't make sense anyway. So you've done all this extra effort for nothing at all. I am really glad that the hatred of prompts and tables is not just my own, but also Logan. Good luck with your prompts and tables. You are really good at games anyway, though, so I'm sure you will do very, very well with your prompts and tables, however many of both that there are. And yeah, Rochelle, I don't know how you come up with as many tables and stuff as you do. Like, your games are just like, I'm gonna write the rules in a poem or in a take on the song, and then I'm also gonna do 30 million prompts, and each of those prompts is gonna have a bunch of other stuff underneath it, and somehow that's all gonna work. And you make it sound like it's, you're terrible at it, but honestly, it comes across and it's like, that was amazing, way to go. So you now have me vocally saying, you can take that as a ringtone if you want. Just be all like, my voice saying, you did the thing and it was great. In fact, anybody can take that if they want to. You did the thing and you're great. Because that is true. If you've done the thing, you are great. If you haven't done the thing, you're still great, because like, not doing the thing, still stressful. So I'm going to take the vibe of what we've written and figuring it out. I always feel like middle of the night me is kind of a different person than morning me. Oh my goodness, morning me isn't even a person yet. I don't think me as a person until after breakfast, maybe in the middle of making breakfast. Basically, Angel and I make breakfast together. I kind of prep everything, and then she does all the hard work of actually cooking stuff. And I feel like maybe that time where I've finished setting all the things up for her, that's when I'm a person, because I've gone through that rigmarole of like, she will tell you that, like, seriously, if even one thing is off from that cycle in the morning, I'm just gone. Like, I'll just be like, what was I doing? Like, the pan isn't exactly where it should be for me to grab and put out. I don't understand. How did the pan get over there? Like, what's going on? So, where was I even going with that? Oh, right. So morning me being, how do y'all rub your noses when you stream and not like get caught on that? That's just crazy. Morning you being a different person. So there's 3 people, I guess. Like, this is like a weird multiplayer game where all of you. No, I'm gonna try to go with a solo game here. Maybe 2 phases where you are creating the note and then you're deciphering it. That's a lot in an hour. I played around here and I've been rambling, so now I only have like 2 minutes till this starts. I should have started at 1 o'clock after all. But that last episode was good. That, like, only murders in the building is getting really interesting, and I didn't want to stop watching it. Okay. Ciphering notes left stuff in there. So, if I had $1 for every time I said that during the stream, I could just like quit. That'd be pretty sweet. Notes you left yourself in the middle. All right. So, I think the goal of any game where you have to decipher the notes, you only win if you can make that note mean something good. And I don't think it matters what the original note even said. Like, how many times, like, everyone here is a creative person. How many times have we seen something and gotten inspired from it, even if that thing wasn't anything based on what we actually saw? Like, I don't know. I'm looking in my phone just randomly in a reflection. It's looking at the bottom of my monitor, so it looks like instead of HP, it's like PH. And now I'm trying to come up with an alphabetic game because of the letters PH together, which is just weird anyway. Like, that's a noise I make a lot anyway. So that's what I'll call this game. It's just, and then like you got to figure out what even means, which I'm sure sounds great coming across a microphone anyway. So you're also welcome for that. But all right, well, if you're in Eastern time, we are about to travel backwards into the past. For the rest of you, it was great knowing you, and I guess free ASMR. I guess for the rest of you, you can continue living in your current reality hopefully the person that comes out on the other end of this one for me is the same me and not some weird me. And there it is. It is now 1 o'clock in the morning. We are now reliving this time, and I am starting on this jam. So sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, it's cool to just like throw a title up and stuff, because like you kind of like inspire yourself with a title. So let's go with WTF is this though? And obviously we've got to use THO because we're hip and cool. So, and then we've got a question mark maybe for an element. None of these are cool. You're not supposed to disappoint me this early in my jam, Canva. Okay. So, normally, actual advice here, like not joking around. Normally, the very first thing I do when I'm making a game on Canva is you just throw some random freaking text down. You go through and you select whatever fonts you're interested in. Something that'll fit the vibe of what you're doing. And then you do that font, like if we were going to use this one right here, and just duplicate this a bunch of times. Oh, I forgot I can just do that. Normally I'm better than this. Like that. And we do like, okay, like let's do this one at 24. We'll do this one at 20. This one at 18. And just so on down the line. And then you would take this, you would just hit share, download it as a PDF, not a PNG, because we don't hate ourselves and we don't want it to look stupid. And resize itself. You just download it as a PDF print, and then you'd print that thing right out, and you could tell what size font you need, because there's nothing worse than writing out a whole page, getting everything lined up just right, and then printing it and finding out that your font is so huge that like it blinds people, or it's so small that Willy Wonka's contract. There we go. Words work. The contract, the bottom of Willy Wonka's contract, it's about the same size, and good luck figuring it out. So, but I mean, I guess really, if you had font that was that small and nobody understood your rules, then it's kind of on them for not being able to read it. Like, is that how that works? Like, they would actually be really fitting for this jam, honestly. Anyway, like if we made the font impossible to read for a game that's about trying to understand what we wrote in the middle of the night, and this is a game we're making in the middle of the night. So I could just slap down, like, here we go. What's this game? It's, boom, that didn't even take an hour. We're done. Those are my notes in the middle of the night. We can figure those out tomorrow for what this game is. And we are done. I'll go make the itch page now. And what else? For real, though, let's give you Michelle. Party game where others give you pieces of what you wrote, texted them, and you have to turn it into something seemingly reasonable. I almost said unreasonable. Apparently, I just want this to be unreasonable on purpose, and I'm even sabotaging myself. And that's actually a really good idea, Rochelle. You're not allowed to have good ideas when we're trying to make something at 2 o'clock in the morning, or 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. When we're making games at local time, it doesn't even matter. Local time. That's just the answer to everything. It's local time everywhere. And but yeah, you're not allowed to have good ideas that can actually be made into something cool this early in the morning. So, feel that. That is a great idea. I love that. And you should definitely make that at some point yourself. Because you already have a couple of games like that where you take different things that exist and then you make it into something. Or like a GIF, and you already have a GIF. Maybe that's it. It's just like refining random notes in the middle of the night. But this isn't, you didn't say attempting to decipher notes that were found in the middle of the night. It's notes you left yourself in the middle of the night. So I can't change the theme with that. All right. We all know that the best way to utilize an hour of our time when it's a very limited amount of time is to waste most of it. Who else does that? Just like, I got a week. I'm going to spend the first 6 days doing nothing and then be so overwhelmed the seventh day that I'm just not even going to do it. play some No Man's Sky, whatever. Sounds kind of good right now. Anyway, I'm going to No Man's Sky. See you guys later. No. Okay. So, cipher notes you left yourself in the middle of that. I really like the idea of having to randomly generate the note that we're leaving ourselves. I feel like the best way to do that is to, and I hate to use this word, to prompt the player to come up with different things and then having to smash those things together. So basically Rochelle's idea, but for those of us that don't have friends, who don't want to interact with other people, thanks for stopping by, Jamie. I really appreciate it. And actually, Jamie here is the one who encouraged me to know how to talk to people when you're doing something solo. So she is super awesome. She would be super awesome anyway about that. But she's super awesome. Doubly super awesome for that, I guess would be the word I'm trying to say. Ooh, random music playlists. I kind of did that with the. You know what's bad when you can't remember the names of your own games, right? Like, I love my games so much that I forget the titles. It's great. We did make a zine though, actually, that was Museum of Extraterrestrial Artifacts, and the idea was that you make a playlist of random songs, and then the song somehow is what you base an alien artifact on, extraterrestrial artifact, and you as the curator have to kind of make up what it is because nobody really knows, and people are coming to museums, so you need to at least make it sound cool. So even if this thing's just like a paperweight, like it's not a paperweight anymore, it's like better than a paperweight. I don't know. I'm not playing it. But so yeah, we're going to prompt the information from players to come up with a few sentences or a couple words, and then we're going to absolutely smash the crap out of those things together to make a note that we've left ourselves in the middle of it. Yeah. Based on my songs, Know What You Did in the Dark, I'll that way. That's very fair, Angel. For those not familiar, Angel is my partner. She is amazing. She does co-designing with me all the time. In fact, for the longest time, it was just Beth Makes Games, which is also my Twitter handle. And then she'd been helping with games for years. And one day she was just like, what if it was Beth and Angel Makes Games? Like, yeah, that's actually a really good point, especially since none of these would exist without you. So that's a great idea. Beth and Angel Make Games is born. That's not a note that we left ourselves in the middle of, though. I am procrastinating the living crap out of this. So, all right, we are leaving notes to ourselves in the middle of the night. I don't like this font. Let's just go with something basic. This is way too spaced out. That's fair. Okay. We are good to go. Have our font. I'm going to shrink that down to 18. And make this our thing. So, I personally like to set up my rulebooks in the format of what is this game? How do you win it? Ramble a bunch in between because I ramble about everything. And then how to actually play the game. So we're just going to set that up, and we're going to Michael Scott this in that he is a pro at not knowing what he's doing or saying, even while he's saying it. All the Office fans out there know what I'm talking about. And I live my life according to that rule. If I know what I'm saying, like, I'm bored with myself. So let's live life dangerously. So I'm going to start with a heading here. Calling this WTF is this, though. Let's start with that. This is pro level stuff here. We actually use 2 different sizes of font in one box. It's amazing. Definitely worth $17.99 a month just for this. Why are you still bold? How dare you? I just unbolded you. And really, that should be capitalized. Is capitalized? It's a verb. And it should be capitalized, I guess. It's such a small word. It feels like it shouldn't be. Anyway. Wow, I could spell. It's don't use a bunch of capital letters in your rule book in the middle of everything for no reason. Are you even writing a rule book? This isn't even a rule book in the first place. It's a one-page game. Yeah. Turned around in the middle of the night. Grabbed notepad. Who even has notepads anyway these days? Right? Somehow hold a pen. No. Good. That's a good example of something that you would write down in the middle of the night. It's not a game idea. Right? I'm trying to think of it. Something like my brain is for some reason saying the Big Mac sauce recipe, but I don't really think anybody cares about knowing what that is. It's like tartar sauce turned orange. Um, hmm, is it? Treasure. Well, we'll just go pirate it up. Pirate everything. Treasure map. Maybe. Oh, there we go. That'll work. Best song in the world. At least a tribute to it. Recipe item. You really need to pick up because seriously. It's interesting that I actually like kind of talk like that now. It's like I did not used to speak like this in any way, shape, or form, and somehow just like becoming Beth is like, yeah, let's just throw the word like everywhere like 30 times, and then I actually do it for the rest of. Ooh, everybody here has a bunch of really good secrets. Like, could you start writing those down in the middle of the night? It's like I would like to know the 21 flavors of Dr. Pepper, the 11 secret ingredients. Is this like the new? What is that song even? It's like Christmas song. The 12 Days of Christmas. Wow, yeah, that should have come pretty obviously from the whole 12 thing. No, it's gonna do like the 21 days of remembering notes from the past, where we have the 21 flavors of Dr. Pepper, the a bunch of other things, the 13 flavors of Baskin Robbins, which I'm pretty sure is a lot more than that now. 11 ingredients in the kernel sauce. We got to start earlier for 47 though, because the Heinz 47. So we're doing a lot of prompts tonight because we got 47 of these. Let's go. Probably not. More than likely. Wow, that's way to autocorrect that. More than likely, this is a terrible idea. Maybe that's just what this game is. It's me figuring out how many times I could. And the 47 is how many times I use the word though in this rulebook. This rulebook, it's a sheet of paper. All right, so we have our overall description of this game. It only took us 15 minutes to do that. I'm really proud. Okay, go back to size 18. Okay, so we have our what is this game? Um, Obviously, I will edit that at some point, and it'll be less rambly. But I feel like the way to get the good stuff, the really quality writing that you want in literally anything, is to just spew a bunch of crap on the screen, and then you go back and you edit it, and then you edit that, and then you edit maybe like 13 or 14 more times, and then it's good. It's like actually usable, and then Angel looks at it and she fixes it so it's actually good, and then we're all set. So, um, so we have our what is this game about? Now we need the basic. What do you need to play this game? How many players play it? So who is gonna play this though? And there you go. That's fitting with what I've already been saying. So instead of remembering what font I used size-wise, I can just copy paste. I'm just gonna do that. Oh, of course, I didn't do that at all. Way to go. Bolded it. Why is it bolded? This is not italics. Not a game for 1+ players because I'm going to leave myself the space to make that work with more than one also. And all you need is a bunch of imagination to make whatever the heck you're looking at worth more than the garbage it actually is. Good luck with that, though. You'll need you. I keep wanting to call it a rulebook. This is like this game. This document. I'm sure all of you are familiar with using some form of brackets or double parentheses or whatever the heck these things are called. The little squiggly bracket things like we use for coding, things like that. Just anything, so that when you're done with your document and you go through it and somehow you missed the fact that you left it in there after like 4 edits and you're like this close to putting it on itch and letting the whole world see that you totally screwed it up, you just have to hit Control F and you go bracket, and then there it is. So I'm sure y'all are familiar with that, but if anyone's not familiar with that, that is the biggest trade secret in all of game design, writing, and literally everything else in the entire universe. Just you're welcome. View this document and maybe a pen or something, because if you're not writing these notes to yourself, who is? Now I'm getting freaked out that maybe somebody else is writing my notes to myself. Okay. Also, for anyone who's aspiring to make games or who does currently make games, I am not suggesting you actually write anything like this. This is very quick, and like I said, it's definitely going to get fixed if this is even worth anything in 41 minutes anyway. For real, this probably will be a note that I look at tomorrow, like what even is this? And then I'll have to watch my own recorded stream and listen to my own voice while I do it to make sense of it, and that's just not happening. So anyway, next, how to play. It's very important that you find a theme when you're creating a game, and then you stick to it. It doesn't matter if that's a good theme or not. So I am just using the word though a bunch of times, just because I randomly threw the title WTF as this though for the title of this document. Have fun with it, but whatever. You know, the best thing about games like these that are really small and you make them very quickly is just that, like, it doesn't have to be good. You know what I mean? Like, this is a learning experience. It's just fun to do it. And in all reality, if you are not familiar with making really small games, making games that you're literally just completely done with in an afternoon or super early in the morning like this, um, if you're someone who makes games that you prototype it, you design it, you play test it with a bunch of your friends, you have to go back and change it 30,000 times. 6 years later, you're still taking it to like Unpub and stuff. Um, that is amazing and you're awesome, but try to squeeze one or two of these in here where you can, because you just get that like rush of like, I actually did a thing and it's done and I never have to deal with this again. And it's fine that like 17 people downloaded it, because honestly, in all reality, like if 17 people have even looked at something you did, I think that's a pretty big win. Like there's 17 people out there in the world that have like checked out something you did. Like, I mean, like that's pretty epic in all reality. I don't know what GMTA is, but I apparently flipped over at just the right time. And yes, both of you are correct. This stream, this game, is my note to myself. Which, Rochelle, you must have foreseen this happening when you came up with the theme in the first place, right here, and then voted for it, or whoever did. This got 2 votes. So 2 people were like, ha ha ha, Beth's gonna like figure out that she's making herself a note. And let's keep wasting time. And by wasting time, I don't actually mean wasting time, because this is actually fun. But I mean like watching the time tick down and not having anything going on at all. How TF do you play this though? And yes, I'm gonna keep saying TF or WTF because I'm not gonna like bust out some language here. This is the Weird Giraffe Games Twitter channel, and I am not going to befoul it with such horrific language. So, how do you play it? I don't know. There we go, we're done. Figure it out tomorrow. There we go. We're done. Have a good night. No, how do you play this? The game, of course, when I went back to that, it rebolded because why wouldn't it? Thank you, Canva. A beacon of light tonight. How do you play this though? The game, you never say the game, first of all. This goes for anybody writing, this goes for somebody making a game, this goes for people that are reviewing games. Use words like the game as rarely as possible. Just throw the title right there. Unless the title's really long. Like if I was calling this game WTF is this though, I swear I didn't write this last night, but like obviously somebody did, and this looks like my handwriting. And also I kind of distinctly remember waking up at like 3:30 in the morning to hit up the bathroom, but like I don't really remember grabbing this pen and writing this. Like, that's fine. I wouldn't want to write that either. But for the most part, you can always shorten it anyway. So WTF is broken into 2 distinct phases. That's the word I was looking for. Phases. 1. I'm not going to use sparkles. No, I'm not going to use sparkles. We don't print right. FYI, sparkles, emojis and stuff do not carry over properly in Canva when converting it to a PDF, so that's why you'll almost never see any sparkles in my documents, despite the fact that if it was up to me, this whole thing would just be like, there's the thing. I don't know. Wait, these notes to yourself. We'll pick these. I feel like I'm going to be all like Gordon Ramsay up in here. The most amazing prompts, the most incredible exercises in creativity. These some super mega awesome prompts written by. No, I'm not going to say that. But it was fun to put on a stream. And it's very nice to, for anyone not familiar with the idea of jokingly being self-confident. Um, this is something I've said a few times in the past, but never vocally. Um, if you sit there and you're like me and you don't really necessarily think the most of yourself, and you say something like, just think that as a joke, like I'm the best game designer there ever was. Ah, look at this game. This is amazing. Like it's really fun. This and that. Or you just say something like that. It's kind of miraculous how, even though you're joking about saying it, you feel better about yourself because there's some level of yourself that actually takes that and runs with it. Like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't think I'm the best, but I do think I'm great. Like, oh, I'm pretty cool. Yeah. And thank you both. Honestly, you know how to find the voice you want to write rules and games in? Okay, so like 1 on a scale of 1 to 10 is like, this is, regards, dear sir or madam, this herein is the rule book that you are now partaking in, the most formal version of what you're going to write. And then all the way on this side, on 10, is like, yo, what up? Check out my game. I can't even, like, nope, I cannot pull that off. I am not Jesse Pinkman. Anyway, 10 is, I guess, if I'm going to be jokingly anything, I'm going to be more like Valley Girl than anything. So, like, totally check out this game. Like, for real, this is how you play it, stuff like that. And what I do is, if I'm going to pick this on this, like, I'm going to be writing something first draft, especially, I'm not going to go 1. I'm going to go all the way over here to like 14, and I'm going to make it as casual as humanly possible. A lot of this stuff is going to get rewritten or changed or deleted, but I mean, if you're making an actual game, I don't want to say actual game. If you're making a bigger, I mean, obviously every game is an actual game. It's the wrong word. If you're making a game that requires a bunch of components, requires a bunch of playtesting, any of that stuff, you're going to be rewriting everything anyway. You're going to write your first draft of rules. Everything's going to change halfway through your first playtest. Honestly, even a game like this, if I was to actually finish this and then Angel and I were to play it, I would probably change half of the things anyway because I'd forget half the stuff I was doing when I was writing the rulebook out. And then you have to like write in the like margins. In fact, maybe I should just start doing that from now on. Like normally I just would kind of like pull this thing out here and you just center it and then like you print it out. But maybe from now on, what I should do is kind of go like this, center that instead. And then there's all kinds of room on these margins that I could write in. And then I won't have to like flip the paper over or get another piece of paper or anything else. So yeah, what you're doing now. I'm already learning something. If you've learned something, then I am very happy for that. But I've also taught myself something too. So this is already very valuable. Plus, y'all have been really fun. So I appreciate that. Okay. You'll get these through some prompts. Because who doesn't love those? I sure do. See, now I can almost guarantee that like I rolled with that, but at the very least I would delete I sure do. Because like I don't know. It's fun, but it doesn't have enough impact to stay there. So, you take those. We're gonna do this in active voice. And we're going to skip things like you because it's more driven and more enthusiastic, and we're going to get you into these rules and you're going to be excited about it because who doesn't get excited reading rules? It's like the best part of a game. And anyone who says otherwise like can I guess actually play the game instead of reading the rules. But take those notes and make sense of them. I'm actually going to steal Carla's idea here. Carla, for those not familiar, is the woman who runs Weird Giraffe Games. She is the designer of a lot of stuff. She is the developer of everything else, and she also works with Angel and I with Porky Bird Games, which is the Patreon. We ran this thing on here. See this little symbol, Porky Bird Games, and it says right here. I forgot about the fact that it actually says it in text too, so that's probably a little easier to see than the symbol. Anyway, it's she in one of her last games. It was the one we made together. It's called Step 2. In that one of the rules for winning was actually that all the players win if the idea you come up with is so good that you just decide that you're going to stop playing this game and go do the thing. And so we're going to do that right here. Take those notes and make sense of them. Because if you aren't taking other people's ideas and incorporating them into your own stuff, then you should go play more stuff so you can incorporate stuff. Because obviously don't steal stuff. And if you can, like right now, I didn't say this was my idea. I wasn't like, yeah, I got this genius idea that, hey, you stop, like you win. Like, no, I was like, hey, this is Carla's idea. You can always, at the very bottom of the document, just be like, P.S. The idea to stop playing, like it was done by Carla. It's really cool. Plus, I mean, like, I'm sorry, but if somebody was like, this idea came from Beth, I'd be like, I love you forever. So there's always that. Take those notes and make sense of them. Hopefully, what you come up with is actually good. It probably won't be. See, this is an example of reverse psychology. Not really reverse psychology. Because reverse psychology would be like, don't come up with a good idea. But this is challenge mentality, I guess, is what I want to call it. You see something like it probably won't be, and your brain does one of two things. It's like, you know what, yeah, it probably won't be. Or hopefully you've pulled from the rest of the vibe and the voice I'm using throughout the rest of this. You see it probably won't be, and you're like, you know what, it will be. It's going to be the best idea ever. I wrote all three of these ideas, even though they're from prompts that somebody else came up with. It's not actually notes, but you know what? This is going to be the best idea ever. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to send you a copy of my idea. In fact, you know what? If it doesn't suck, send it my way. I'd like to see it. There you go. See? Talk things out. We actually get ideas from things. This is how game design works. Oh, thank you, Angel. Angel threw here the link to our Patreon. Patreon.com/PorkyBirdGames. There's a lot of stuff there that we do that's free to everybody. I know it's Patreon, but we also use it for like just sharing things. But if you do join, you get games. I wanted to say 4 games a month. It has been a varying number of games per month. We did a bunch last month, but most of them were very small ones. So yeah, join there. Encourage me by supporting me, and I will feel bad if I don't do all the work I'm supposed to do. So that's how you make me work, is just make me feel guilty. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but so how do you play it? 2 phases. You write your notes, and then you make sense of them, right? So that's cool. I personally am a huge fan of when games actually straight up just summarize things in a very easy to see way at the beginning, and then after you've seen it, let's break those steps down. Kind of like, just making a to-do list or anything in regular day-to-day life. It's just, you're not going to be all like, what am I doing today? And then you just write this long freaking list of things. You're like, well, what do I want to do today? And maybe you'll have like 2 projects or whatever. And so you write those things down, and then you break those things up. Anyway, writing notes. How does that work? So, yeah, that'll work. Let's. I forgot I could underline. Normally, I would not say to like while you're originally doing something, you shouldn't keep going back and doing things like this. But I know me, and I know that's going to bug me if I don't do it. And then the whole time after I'm done, I'm going to be like, what did I forget? There was something else going to. And maybe if I would have written a note to myself, I would have remembered, even if it was hard to read it. But I didn't. So now I don't even. And then I get to feel bad about that. Like, this whole stream is just a metaphor for this game. Like I don't know how you planned this yourself. You remind me of one of those, like, I don't want to say villains, but usually it's villains that do it. But like super mega minds behind the scenes, super mega masterminds behind the scenes. I'm not thinking of the movie Megamind, where they're 27 steps ahead of everybody else. So everything that they do is just like on this plotted course that they don't even know about. Anyway, how does that work though? Now I want to say riddle me this. See, this is another example of something I'm not actually going to keep in here, but it's fun to include it. So you should do whatever it takes to have fun while you're making something, because it takes me 2 seconds to delete that back out of there. And when I come back through here and I edit, maybe I'll think of something funnier and even better to put in place of riddle me this. I don't know, why is there a question mark there? Riddle me this. Be fancy here. A colon. Riddle me this. What? Why am I coming up with a riddle? I only have like 24 minutes. Why am I? Where do notes come from? No, that's how most riddles work, right? It's just a question that answers itself. Like the Sphinx is just sitting there, like you're never gonna figure out these riddles. You're gonna die, and then I'm gonna tell you the answer at the end of the riddle, and somehow the 30 people that came before you died because they couldn't figure it out. Maybe they thought it was a trick question. I'm not really sure, but either way, let's. Maybe we should make a game about a riddle that you have to ask people that includes the answer, and yet they don't know what the answer is. I just made a game called Were You Even Listening? And that's literally what it was, where you tell people a bunch of information, and you have to bury the good part in it, and then you have to ask them about if they were listening. So apparently I'm just going to like redo all my old games into this one, because that's how that works. First, you know what? Let's. We only have a little bit of time. Let's do this prototype style instead of coming up with prompts. And this is great advice for anybody trying to make a game quickly and see if something is worth it. It's called rapid prototyping in the video game realm, and it works great in tabletop too. So instead of sitting here and coming up with like a prompt table where you roll 2d6 and you've got to find, like where these two match up on a grid, we're just going to write out 3 prompts. These are the only choices you get. When you play it, you'll know right away, if that's fun or not, because it's not like the first play of it's really going to, you're not going to, oh, if only I would have rolled this other thing, it would have been fun. Like if that's the case, your game's not fun. Like, so rapid prototyping here. First. We're going to combine that with, again, lifting ideas from other things. We made a game called MacGyver. We're still working on it. But the basis of that game is that it's centered on the old Facebook games where you have to, oh no, the zombie apocalypse happened, and all you have to survive with are the 3 things nearest to you. Can you do it? So we're going to steal the Facebook mentality, the Facebook game mentality here. And we're just going to do things like that. First, what is the closest food item to you? Write that down. Who doesn't love listing food items? See, this is another example of when you do go really casual, when you do really just kind of roll with the punches, you end up with a lot of the same thing. I've already done who doesn't love listing food items. Who doesn't this and that, I think, yeah. Who even has notepads these days? Am I right? We have a bunch of those, and so when I go through and edit it, there will be fewer of those. Who doesn't love listing food items? Secondly, what is the color of I don't want to do like color or something because the problem with something like that is it's pretty much always going to be the same. Like if I say, "What's the color of your shirt?" 9 times out of 10, my answer is going to be gray, or you know, it's trans-colored dragon. So we're going to be trans colors all the time. Trans color, everything else too, because why not? We are loud and proud. But we're not going to be colors. What? Secondly, in fact, I'm gonna open this up. Anybody have anything that they would want to ask people for their games? See, this is the secret to real game design is that you don't actually do it yourself. You have everybody else do it, and then you just kind of write the rules and boom, you're done. Um, or do the exact opposite with that step 2 game we were talking about. It was actually our group game from Quirky Bird Games uh, last month, which it's weird that was last month. This last week has been wow. But yeah, last month it was just something I jokingly said, and then Carla ran with it. She came up with the whole game. We looked over it. I think we might have contributed like 1 or 2 little things to it, and then it was considered a group game because we threw the idea out there, and she did 99.9% of the work, but it counted as a group game. And I feel like that's what co-designing is. It's hey, you know what? Like, I have this idea, and you make it for me, and cool, now we've designed it better. I'm sure anyone who has co-designed before, or even worked in high school or grade school on different team projects, knows exactly what I'm talking about, where either you're the one that did all the work while somebody else sat there and took half the credit, or you're the one that took all the credit while somebody else did all the work. In which case, congratulations, I guess. You learned the secret of school, which is to do the minimum work possible. I hope nobody in school is watching this or listening to this because that's not true. But so, first, what's the closest food item to you? Write that down. Who doesn't love listing food items? Secondly, what, and we're going to steal Rochelle's idea here from earlier, what is the most recent text message you received? If you're not in your 60s, not that I'm saying any of us are in our 60s, I'm obviously in my mid 20s myself. So if you're not in your 60s, uh, I can't pull that off with a straight face either. Oh my goodness, no. If you're not in your 60s, you probably haven't actually texted anyone recently, but maybe you were on Discord or you tweeted something. Not that anyone uses Twitter anymore. Thanks, Elon. In either of those cases, those are technically text messages. So, got you there. I love technicalities. Angel can definitely tell you that my arguing style, I want to say arguing, I don't like argue, like my debate style, debate me, bro. My debate style, my decision making, everything about me is very, 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 very strictly technicalities. And so I am extremely, extremely focused on the technicalities. Um, ooh, okay. Now I forgot that there's such a huge like gap between me talking and messages on Twitch. So I was like, man, y'all are slacking. And now there's like 30,000 awesome things in here that I can use. So um, I am going to steal one from each of you, Rochelle and Angel. Instead of food item, I'm going to go first. What is the most recent Facebook? This is from Rochelle. I feel like it's not right. You capitalize it like FB, but like Facebook is book capitalized. Just seems right. What's the most recent Facebook? What's the word? Conspiracy theory you heard, saw, or perpetuated yourself? You get bonus points if you perpetuated yourself. The points, however, are meaningless because of whose line is it anyway? Got that. Finally, what's the last song you heard or thing you streamed? What's the last thing you streamed? That's called being concise. It's something I'm an expert at. If you ask anybody that knows me, I am always very good at speaking in very few words, and I never, ever, 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 ever use a bunch of words or repeat myself in any way, shape, or form. So, what's the last thing you streamed? It could be a song, a movie, a TV show, a cat video, a something else. I don't know you or your life. I'm not here to judge either. Let's make this a little more interesting. You'll be answering the following 3 questions. But, no, let's start a sentence. But we start with however, because that's fancy. Everybody knows that bigger words are like better. So, however is better than but. Just like but with 2 T's is better than but with 1 T. However, but don't use this interchangeably. Like, don't do that. Don't be that person. However, you'll have to do it with the following caveats. I don't even. Okay, so this is how game design works too. You'll see that I put. You'll need maybe a pen or something. I did not say anything about needing. Where is the cursor? All the way down there. You'll need this document, a piece of paper, and something to write with. Because now you actually need those things. Try to remember to add those things as you go when things change, especially if you're doing like I am and you don't even know what you're doing until later, because you will forget later, and then people will be like, you never said you needed a piece of paper or something to write with, and you'll be like, you know what, you're right. You caught me. You'll have to do it with the following caveats. Number 1, turn off. I don't want to turn off the lights because, don't look at the paper. You may look at it before you start writing. But once you touch your writing instrument, again, longer words, definitely better, to the paper, you must look away. Your own awesomeness is so strong that even you can't control it. I keep forgetting, that I can just ask you what we should do here. Trying to come up with ways that will make your writing look illegible. Something that mimics the idea of writing but not knowing what it says when you're done. That has the open. That sounds interesting. Oh, thank you so much, Google Calendar, for popping up that this stream started. Or story is starting in 10 minutes. Apparently, Google broke because it's not quite 2 o'clock yet. Opposite hand from dominant was something I was thinking of, but like, if I try to write with this hand, it's like not even going to be any kind of like. But maybe we can have different challenges for all three of them. However, make sure you follow the rules for writing down your answers to each of the questions before you write them down. First, what's the most recent Facebook conspiracy theory you've heard or perpetuated yourself? The bonus points if you perpetuated yourself, the points are meaningless. You cannot, before, put your writing instrument in your non-writing hand. If this isn't possible, flip right. I wouldn't say sideways, but you could just like flip the paper when you're done and you can just see what it looks like. If this isn't possible, write with the pen between things. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to do that. Put your writing instrument between fingers that you're not used to in the writing. So what I'm trying to say here is basically like, all right, so like the technical way to write is you kind of have your fingers like, you know, I'm writing on a piece of paper. So like this would actually be like, you got to write like this, right? Or like that, right? So like just something that's extremely awkward. Do this in a way that feels like you've never even seen a pen before, let alone, you know, I want something epic here. Do this in a way that feels like you're angering the gods by even attempting to write in this way. Do this in a way that will enrage your ancestors. Do this in a way that will make you feel shame for the rest of your life and beyond. Okay. We all know the rules of 3 in emphasis. You've got to emphasize the living crap out of it. And do this in a way, and repeating that, you know, really serious, because I am a very serious person. So it's important. All right. Secondly, what is the most recent text message you received? If you're not in your 60s, then there's a lot of stuff there. I'm not going to read it all out. Okay, so most recent text message. This is another longer answer. So longer answer means pen in your mouth is put. If I put the pen between my toes or something, I'm probably throwing the pen out when I'm done. So I don't want to curse anybody else with that on top of it. I love that idea, actually. But let's see. Here's the most recent text. So this is something long. I think this one is the one. Okay, so here we go. This is how I'm going to describe this in a way that hopefully everybody that reads this can understand. Close tab. Place your hand above, place your hand, the hand with the writing instrument above the piece of paper. turn away from the page, then spin the paper around 3 times with the other hand. Now, without looking, don't be there cheap. Write the answer down. Good luck. And that just implies good luck is just implied. Maybe bad luck. I want you to do a terrible job at that writing. So, I mean, just to emphasize that, I'll probably delete this later, but bad luck. I hope it looks terrible. Finally, what's the last thing you streamed? It could be a song, a movie, a TV show, a cat video, something else. This is probably going to be a short answer, unless you're very specific and you're like, the last thing I streamed was the album from Devil Driver called Trust No One, and it was the song Trust No One. So unless you're being super specific, like if somebody's just like The Office or something, or Friends even, but it's probably going to be something very short. So this needs to be something different. Something that's really going to fiddle with. You know what? Let's be really nice. Just write this one down. Unless someone else has come up with a great idea. For those of you not seeing the chat, by the way, Rochelle and Angel are coming with a bunch of great ideas here. Rochelle's saying things like pen in your mouth or foot, right to left, or for those of you in the world that would write with the left, you'd have to write left to right. Right with the hands or the paper behind your back or on top of your head, which, I mean, maybe if you had a hat that was more flat, then actually, like, it'd be a great thing to wear. Like, we could sell hats just specifically for this game that are totally flat, and then, like, I can just retire off the earnings from the hat sales. Or I'll just buy, you shouldn't, dive into your own stash, but I would probably buy all my own hats anyway and not sell them. So, me and hats. Right upside down under the table with the paper strapped to your back or your the back of your squirmiest pet. That sounds amazing. We don't have any pets here, so I wouldn't be able to do that one, but I love that idea. And then Angel over here says, without looking at it, which I actually stole, right to left would be brain breaking for her, which I agree. It would brain break me too. Or with your eyes barely open, which to me, like squinting with my eyes, is probably even more difficult than writing by looking away. And that's true. Your niece is very pet-like. Angel has a niece that's like 3 or 4 years old, and she literally jumps around or hops around or like bounces around in just the weirdest ways. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna be nice at this one. Just write this one down. If you want to be fancy, I won't stop you. Okay, so now we have our 3 things written down. Presumably a player has written down some things on some paper. It might be slightly legible. You know what? Let's do one more thing. Finally, before you move on to interpreting notes. So this is something we've written down in another note. It is. Before you move on to interpreting the notes, write down the first word that comes to mind, even if that word is one from this sentence, because you literally just read it, or the sentence because it's actually the one you just read. See, again, I'm an incredibly concise person. I only state the most necessary, important facts, and do not go on beyond that. WTF do I do with this now? So, because I remember that we're going with that prompt, that style. So why stop now? WTF. I don't even know what I was saying with that word. It is now officially 2 o'clock in the morning again, so it is no longer the 0 hour jam. This is not a game yet, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm going to keep going until this is done. So we'll see what actually happens. My laptop fan is loud. I don't like. Is there like a weird noise coming through, or like? I only hear my own voice bouncing around in my head. Oh, weird. I like don't hear anything. Let me try plugging this back in. Okay, hopefully you can hear me after I unplugged and plugged this back in. I'm going to check the settings real quick just to make sure. Yeah, okay, it's okay. And yeah, I do a little something I think is loud talking, so hopefully that's not so loud. Okay, so what did I even write? Okay. Yeah, I don't even know what I wrote. This is an actual thing. It really is like it's WTF section. Have yourself a great day, Logan. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, and thank you for letting me know you can. So what do I do with this now? I don't know. There we go. We're done again. I will totally run with that joke however many times it takes. So we're done. Now you get to interpret what you wrote. How do you do that? What do you mean you can just make? That's not an idea. When all else fails, just call your players silly. Pretty sure that that's how you get all the sales in gaming. That's why I see people called silly in Wingspan and Gloomhaven and Monopoly, all the really good classic games. Sorry, we used sorry instead of silly, even though I really don't think they were very sorry about anything at all. So, and maybe that's where all the fake apologies came from. Like, sorry, these days would just be like an apology video. Yes, we are all silly, Cap. That's right, Angel. Okay. So now I have to figure out. I guess really, if you're familiar with coding in any way, shape, or form, what we've done is we generated output, and now we are coding, dealing with interpreting the input that's being given to us instead. Yes, all of our players are just mindless computers, or either mindless, soulless, emotionless computers that are doing what we tell them to, even at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's definitely not true. In fact, I can tell you right now that the players are, in general, more creative than the game designers are. I don't know that there's ever been a situation where a game player somewhere in the world came up with a better idea than the designer themselves, if not for the whole game, at least some part of it. So, yeah, I'm not calling our players anything but silly. You are silly. I will still call you silly. Okay, so how do you interpret what we've said? You have 4 different things on your paper, or at least you should. Now you get to figure out how this idea is going to make you rich. Because, like your capitalism, the only thing that really matters is being rich. That's the goal of everything. So that's what we're going with here. Is instead of trying to just give you fake points that don't mean anything in life, once the game is over, except with bragging rights, we're gonna make you rich, and this is my gift to the world. Now you figure out this video is going to make you rich. First, use the last word you wrote down to figure out the general theme of what your idea is about. If you wrote down something like word, for example, you might be coming up with an idea for a book or a new word for the dictionary, because all of the richest people have invented their own words. It's obviously the clearest route to fame and fortune. So those two things always go together, like there's not like a whole bunch of like really rich people that nobody knows, I guess, or like people that are super famous but broke. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot of people that are famous and broke because they're anyway. So now we've got the general idea of what you're trying to do. I like to give examples personally, to some extent. You don't want to do too much, because if you do a bunch of examples, you're kind of stealing the player's ability to be creative. But if you don't give at least one or two examples, they don't really know what you're talking about. I barely know what I'm talking about right now, so I definitely can't assume anybody else knows what I'm talking about. Secondly, can you make this multiplayer? Okay, I came back to the chat over here, and Rochelle says that the National Canadian Game is sorry. Which, honestly, that might even be true, but also a joke. It's a pretty popular game, so it would be pretty funny if, sorry was literally the National Canadian Game, in addition to metaphorically Canadian game. Yeah, if you're watching the stream and you don't have this all written down, then I don't know. This is like the new form of the chain letter. Like, if you don't have a piece of paper, you've got to send 7 other people to this video, or else really bad things are going to happen. Like, the next time you make toast, you're going to push the toast thing down, and then it's going to come back out like 3 minutes later, but it's going to be like barely even toasted. You're not even going to know it was toasted. And then you're going to push it down for like 20 seconds more, and it's going to come out completely black because, or like when you salt your food, the next time you salt your food, like you're going to like use half the salt shaker. You're not going to notice if there's salt in there. And then you're just going to sprinkle like the tiniest bit more, and like just pure salt. It's just all you're going to taste. And yeah, the chain letter thing is something kind of personal around here. Ainsley's mom is extremely anti-chain letter, to the point where she gets offended if she gets them, because someone has cursed her with the requirement to deal with this thing. The thing can't be ignored. It literally has to be dealt with, or this person is personally attacking her with the responsibility of sending this thing out, and then she is forcing other people to deal with the responsibility for sending it out. Which, like, anyway, we'll make that game next time. We're going to do chain letter of the game. So secondly, one at a time, figure out how the other things. No. Secondly, with a new sheet of paper, so now I need to go and put down 2 pieces of paper. 2 pieces of paper. Capitalization is important. Secondly, with a new sheet of paper, you know what I should do is the standard rule writing thing where, like, instead of just, like, writing things out like normal, we've got to capitalize stuff for 2 pieces of paper. Something to write with. There you go. Because no rulebook is complete without capitalizing things like the deck or the first player token. Got to be first player token and not like first player token. It's important. And then somebody gets to spend the next 3 years of their life making sure that it's properly capitalized throughout the whole rulebook. So, secondly, with a new sheet of paper, figure out what you even wrote. Look at the things you wrote, and without and genuinely see what you would think they say. Sure, you remember that you wrote down that you streamed The Office, since it was just like 5 minutes ago. But this is mourning you. And that nothing ever again. Finally, so don't get those confused. We're writing that first word that comes to mind on a new sheet of paper, so that that's separate. But that means we have to fix this over here. If you are familiar with game design, you know that 90% of game design is just fixing the stuff you've already done. And for those of you not familiar, now you know. Where did they even say that? I swear I wrote down something about like using a new piece of paper here. There we go. Secondly, on the second sheet of paper, rate these things in a tidy, nice list, in whatever order you like. On the piece of, just on the second piece of paper. The one you didn't ruin with or terrible. Finally, figure out how these things. You know what? No. We're changing that. In alphabetical order. Let me figure out how these things make sense with your experience. But idea thingy. Thank you, Rochelle and Angel. You are both awesome, and I appreciate it very much. Over here in the chat. Every time I flip over, there's like 30 messages, which A is super cool, and B, like, they're all awesome. So, yay. I will have fun reading this later. Finally figure out these things make sense with your brilliant whatever thingy. For example, if you had word for your overall. See now, when if I were to re-edit this, I would make sure to give this idea that the one word you wrote down separately in actual terms. So like, this is your idea, this is your blah blah blah, and then I would use that every single time I mention it. I might not be concise, but I can be consistent, and that is extremely important in your books. So, for example, if you had word for your overall idea, and you wrote down birds are actually actually drones used by the government to spy on us. And when you wrote it down from with terrible handwriting, you came up with boards are actually drones. I don't know. This would probably be very different if you were actually writing it out. Used by whatever. I'm not going to example that. Well, if you wrote down for the writer, then you would be writing a book about how birds are. Maybe they're not the government after all, but you should at least use this note as an inspiration for what you're doing. Maybe you changed your mind from last night, and it's actually your ex using birds as drones. They really must not be to have invented a whole species of animal just to see what you're up to. If you think so highly of yourself, good for you. Finally, you already hit finally. I swear, there's not been a single time in my entire life where I've had a list that's like first, second, finally, and then did not have something that came after finally. Like if you ever get an email from me or anything, and you see first, second, finally, whatever, I can guarantee you that one of the previous items was the finally before I actually sent it. Like it's just like if that ever isn't the case, like I'm not me. I have been replaced by a clone, and probably like some kind of alien or something trying to take over our planet. I don't know why it would come from me, but like, hey, it's cool. Like, okay, so that's it. Congratulations. You did the thing. You came up with a brilliant idea, I'm sure. I know I said earlier that I was sure it would be terrible, but that was last night. Let's go. Right after that. Not correct. An excellent stub. I can't even let that go. Like even at 220 slash 320 in the morning in a game. So, all right, this is technically done. I would probably add more to this. I would, um, after testing this, if I was to actually finish it, um, there would be more to this last step. But I am extremely tired, and it is a thing that exists now. It's technically done. Um, Now, I guess let's spend a little bit of time just to show the process of making this look a little nicer. So, if you're not familiar with Canva, um, there are a few ways to really get things nicely lined up. You can just move things, like drag it. Um, See, it shows like there's a line here, and it actually clicks to it, like boom, it's in the middle. And if I drag down, if it's the same thing, like boom, that's the center. You could also hit this position and then center. Um, you can also, like, this is, like there's a lot of space right now, so I could just be like, boop, and then it makes it bigger. Um, again, center. Um, so we need some kind of header here, though. I am kind of a one-trick pony in the fact that when I do a layout, um, what I do is usually find some kind of font that's already made here, if possible. Good grief, my throat's sore. Hold on. Angel could probably tell you this is the most talking I've done in like 2022 combined, let alone in one night. So, um, at least out loud, I will chat your ear off via text, but out loud. I particularly really like this font, maybe because it says feeling cute on it, maybe because it's trans colors, maybe just because it is actually cute. I don't know. But I've used this one a few times. You change the colors and stuff. But this is a game about notes. So, just for the heck of it, let's do. I would never in a million years suggest you actually do this if you are making a game yourself. But I just want a plain text. So let's do add a heading. So it's really big, but that's fine on it. So I never suggest using cursive font for anything because there are people that cannot read cursive. And even in the best of circumstances, a lot of times cursive is hard to read. But we're going for hard to read for this particularly right now. So we're just gonna. I don't know. Okay, so is there a way we can mess this font up, or is there like a worse narrative font? This is another one of those things that I've said this a bunch of times tonight, but if you have done game design, like tabletop game design like this, with writing, you'll probably know that 30% of the time is actually game design, and 70% of the time is finding the font that works. Um, it might be a little bit exaggerative. I'm sorry. It's probably more like 80% of the time is font, not 70. Um, round down a little bit, trying to do a bit benefit of the doubt. That's too nice. I wish I wrote like that. And I'm just gonna give it one more try. That'll work. Alright, now is there a way we can mess the font up to make it look messy? Canva has a few different things you can do here with text. Okay, so first of all, nobody ever writes straight in the middle of the night, so we don't want this to be straight plain font. We want to curve it. I wish we could curve like wiggle it like all different ways. And if I was actually making this to where I'd put it up on Itch and stuff, I would actually kind of break this into a few different. You know, it'll only take a second. I'm not gonna look kind of whatever thing how we even make anything. Okay. How is that? That doesn't even seem curved. I don't understand why it thinks that's curved. So let's do a different value. Yeah, it's not really. Okay, close enough. It looks off enough. So yeah, we'll call that it right now. Again, I would never in a million years go like, you know what we should actually do for real is like put this on something because nobody's going to read that. While that's a cute idea, I definitely don't recommend it for actually doing something. All right, so what kind of art comes to mind when you think of serpentine? Yes. Um, oh my goodness, yeah, I forgot about that, Rochelle. Oh my goodness, I wonder if I can find that. Do you remember? I don't remember what it's called. So Rochelle here, actually, we did a game jam a while back. It was, I think it was called like the Artisan Jam or something like that. Um, but basically, the whole challenge of it was to do everything possible by hand. So Rochelle actually made handwriting font so that she could do the game herself um, directly in, like a text editor or whatever. But it was handwritten because it was actually her handwriting. Um, which is brilliant, but I could not do that myself too. So I don't remember what that font is called or anything. So I'll just like whatever. It's good. It's called Steven type. It's somebody's type, maybe not my type. Um, so what kind of art comes to mind when you think of middle of the night? Because we have a bunch of free space here. It's free real estate. I'm sorry, I'm never going to not use that meme. All right, so the first thing that comes to my mind is alarm. Um, I'm thinking digital alarm, like the lights coming off of a digital alarm. This one. There we go. Ooh, okay. So one of the cool things about Canva is that a lot of these things you can change the colors on up here. And if you'll notice, there's 3 different boxes, so we can change the 3 different colors. You probably guess where I'm going with this, but if we have something we can change the colors on, I'm going to transcolor it. It's not really quite what I wanted because a lot of the colors are not changeable. In fact, this green isn't changeable at all. Do that fine. I was going to make it pink too, so that it was really obvious. But whatever. Don't crush my greens or anything. That's fine. I guess let's play about as close as I'm going to get there without spending a bunch of time really like going over it. So, all right, we have an alarm clock here. One thing I've learned is that angling things makes it seem more chaotic, and we are going for chaos here. So, angle that a little bit. It looks like it's jumping off the table or something. And see, even it knows, like 6 a.m. No, nobody wants to be up at 6 a.m. That's how you eat your life. Over here is 7 a.m. It's 6 morning. Okay, so we have that. Maybe curtains. Like most people have some curtains around their windows that keep the light out. So let's go with curtains. That's exactly what I was going for right there. That's not going to work because we have the alarm clock. So I was thinking this could go all the way across the page, but if I were to do that, then nope, this is really wrong. And like now you don't even know it's a curtain anymore. So that's not going to work. Okay, so not curtains. What about bed? Hey, hit me. No. I know this is the content that everybody came back for. You scrolling through Canada trying to find a picture that'll work somewhere on here. You know what? No, it's cool. Let's just keep there. Maybe something a better cost. What? Why does it say home office? Like, does somebody aspire to this? Like, is it future funk? This is future funk. I don't know how that's future funk. I'm kind of curious what future funk is. Oh, that's just the theater. Okay, those are really cute. I kind of need a Yas kitty. Like, this is going to be the next game we make. Just like this different cat, like saying different things. Kind of looks ninja-like. So like it comes in, it's like, great, you're a winner, and then poof, later, like it just kind of blesses your life with like, the positivity you need, and then also a meeting because you know he doesn't love having a bunch of meetings. Stable internet, that's the dream right there. Okay, so in a perfect world, we would have some stuff around the sides here. We would have something around the bottom, and we would have edited this a few times and playtested it. So, as it is, though, I think that's pretty good and done. No. This looks like it'll wrap right around here perfectly. You'll know that the best beds are the ones that can fit like a whole paragraph in them. And then one thing I will say, though, before this is done for now, is that you should never, ever make anything without putting your name on it. You never know. I learned this lesson because a while back there was the Tiny Library Jam. It was to make a game that fit on a business card, and it was my very first small game. It was my very first RPG, and I made it, and it actually won. Won as in it was one of the like top 50. So it was part of it. And on Kickstarter, it was this pack of like cards. Like it was a business card, and then they changed it to just standard cards. But it wasn't until I thought about it way too late after it was out and shipped off to backers and stuff that my name and contact information wasn't anywhere on it. So nobody in the universe knows that one of those is mine or which one, or if they happen to really like it, like how to find more of my stuff. So just anytime you do anything at all, just throw a little by. Now it's the sparkles, even though they're not going to come across on the thing anyway. Throw some kind of contact information. Twitter handle. You want to throw somewhere they can find your stuff. So it's going to be Beth Games, H-I-O, and then you're going to have whatever else you might have. So normally I'd add something like maybe the Quirky Word Patreon, things like that. But I'm just going to put, you are all awesome for watching this, and you rock. Thank you so much. And, if you go to the upload section here, they always have to upload a thing to do. This is a look at the different things we've been working on. So, like, whoopsie from that. But somewhere on here should be the Quirky Word logo. We have a better one in another document, but just for the sake of having done this, wow, this is a massive thing. So, just throw that, like, you have to imagine this is transparent. So there you go, something like that. And that's it. I'm not actually can display, but I can't add it. So that's it. That's what finishing a game is like in an hour and a half. this was about exactly how long I took when I did it the first time. Apparently 90 minutes is the curse. But like, yeah, that's it. There's a game. I'll put it out there. Everybody can grab it at some point. Definitely not tonight, though. And I'll write something about how the process goes for turning this into something actually playable. But again, it's very possible that tomorrow I wake up and I look at this and I'm like, what the heck was I even doing? Like, why would I want to continue on this? So we'll see. But yes, I appreciate the Rochelle and Angel, both of you being like, yeah, Canva is a huge time sink when it comes to trying to find anything. Um, Same thing with font. I probably spent another like 30 minutes finding a font before I was actually happy with one. So, but yeah, thank you very much for coming by, and I hope everyone has a great night.